Hello, everybody. Trent here again. Just hoping that everything's going well with your pain journey and that you're improving yourself in whatever way you can to problem solve your pain. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a book that is pretty profound in how the effects on your health are, and a lot of us don't really put a lot of credence into it. We a lot of times will focus on what the problem is, and that ends up being more or less a complaint of things all the time. And we just have to watch how we complain about things. If you have a shoulder issue, I'm pointing my shoulder. If you have any sort of other issue, because complaining becomes a thing that is draining to your body and has an effect on your ability to heal. So I just wanted to point this out to this great book. It's called, see if you can see it there, it's called The Complaint-Free World. It's written by Will Bowen. He is a pastor in Kansas City, and he started this project basically to get people to buy these bracelets. So you have them wear a bracelet. I don't have one, but you can kind of see the bracelet here. I need to get one. We're going to get some. Today I'm going to order some. Basically, you wear these bracelets and you put them on your wrist. And what you do is you go through your day, and once you catch yourself complaining, you take the bracelet off, put it on the other hand. Okay, so what that does is just kind of makes you aware that you're having a complaint and you're kind of in that era of negativity. What happens at the beginning is you're taking it off each hand and kind of switching it very constantly. It's almost all the time. But what happens is you just become more aware of it, and eventually you don't do it as often. Another fascinating thing is this: if you use the bracelets with other people, say you and your spouse did this, or you and your coworkers did this. What we do is, if you saw someone else complaining, you would tell them to switch their bracelet. But I thought this was a funny thing. Before you actually tell them that, you must switch your own, because you're complaining about that person complaining. So you can kind of see the layers of what can happen and how we complain and how we draw comfort from this. So just wanted to point out a little bit on this page. This book's pretty short. It's really quick. It's a pretty small little book. It's probably about 150 pages, maybe, 150, 160 pages. So really, really good read. But here on page 45, they talk about complaining and health. And he talks about a psychologist named Robin Kowalski, who wrote about how this tendency to complain tends to elicit interpersonal reactions from others, such as sympathy or approval. So what we're getting into here is called secondary gain. It can be complicated in that it can be deep at a level that we don't really understand, just much like the subconscious rage we talked about with Dr. Sarno. But basically, if we have this need to have sympathy or approval, we'll have this tendency to be complaining a lot, and then we get some gain out of having that. We have mileage out of just saying that we have this health problem, and that's something where you're getting benefit out of something that's not good for you overall. So sometimes you just have to look at that, and it's a tough look. I understand that I do this sometimes too. I'm not immune to any of this as well. So you got to make sure you stand guard at your mind. It's so important that we just don't, since most of you probably have been in some sort of pain for quite a while, it's easy to get into what Kowalski calls the sick role, where you kind of just take on this persona of getting this sympathy and attention, and you get something out of that. It's been estimated that about 2/3 of illnesses originate in the mind. That's amazing. Think about all the things that we have going on in the world. We've a lot of cancer, a lot of other diseases that are berating us, but there are originations of these things in the mind. Okay, so we really have to look at this. I tell people to stand guard at your mind all the time. Don't just let things go by really have an active part in your mindset, and take that attitude that you're going to get better. And once you just feel that you're complaining, or you can notice that you're complaining, just notice it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Okay, don't complain that you're complaining about it. Just to notice it and start to make your changes that way. The bracelet is a great idea. It really helps you kind of get things to feel a little bit more in control, that you are actually in control of your thoughts, which we really are. A lot of us just react. We need to get back online to be in control of our thoughts and our emotions. That will be a huge part to get you better. I can't overstate this. I mean, this is so important. If we don't do this, then we have continuation of this persona, and no matter what drugs you take, or what therapy I do, or adjustments, or whatever you have done to your body, if you don't have the right attitude to improve, or that you're not understanding that you may have these secondary gain issues, at least opening your mind to the possibility that that is true. Sometimes we're going to convince ourselves that we're not having it, but I want you to take a hard look at yourself and look inward. Oftentimes it's uncomfortable to do so, but you will really gain so much more out of that if you do. So I hope this really helps you. There's other things with this book, but I recommend this book, Complaint Free World. It talks about gossiping too. That's another thing. It's kind of like if you complain about somebody, you want to be able to say what you said about that person to their face. That's a tough one, right? But if you go through the process in 21 days, is the estimate. In about 21 days, you can start to change your habits from this reactionary unconscious competence where you're not sure of what you're doing, to actually understanding that you're doing this, to the point where you're struggling to apply it, and then before you know it, within a few weeks, you might be doing the right thing unconsciously, and that's where we're aiming to get you. So I hope this is helpful. Really pursue this. It's going to be well worth your while to get after your pain problems by looking inward into your mind and look at what kind of beliefs and what kind of things you may be getting out of your problems, and just be honest with yourself. That's what this comes down to. I'm not trying to be harsh or mean to you. I just want to shoot it to you straight like a friend should. A good friend tells you the things you need to hear, and that's what I'm here to say. Okay? So give me any comments. I wish you the best in problem solving your pain. Thanks a lot.